Listen to me carefully, because somebody watching this right now is tired of waiting. You've been praying, you've been believing, you've been doing everything you know how to do, and still the door hasn't opened yet. You look around and it feels like everyone else is moving forward while you're standing still. You see other people celebrating their breakthroughs while you're still fighting battles nobody understands. And in the quiet moments when nobody else can hear your thoughts, you start asking the question, God, did you forget about me? But I came with a message for somebody tonight. Not a message from opinions, not a message from people, but a message straight from heaven. God said, because what feels like delay to you is preparation to God. Sometimes we think that if God is silent, means God is absent. But silence does not mean absence. Silence often means God is working behind the scenes in ways you cannot see. See, we love the blessing, but we hate the process. We celebrate the victory, but we struggle with the waiting room. But let me tell you something powerful today. The waiting season is not a wasted season. The waiting season is where God builds your strength. The waiting season is where God shapes your character. The waiting season is where God prepares you for something bigger than what you asked for. Because if God gave you everything immediately, you might receive the blessing, but not have the strength to carry it. So while you're waiting, God is building you. While you're waiting, God is preparing the right doors. While you're waiting, God is aligning the right people, the right opportunities, and the right moment. And when the time is right, what God releases into your life will make every moment of waiting worth it. So tonight, I need somebody to hear this with faith in your spirit. Don't give up in the waiting. Don't lose hope in the waiting. Don't lose your faith in the waiting, because God said, you see my touch. Listen to me carefully, because somebody watching or listening right now is tired. Not just physically tired, but tired deep down in your soul. You're tired of waiting. You're tired of praying and not seeing anything change. You're tired of believing for something that still hasn't happened yet. You wake up every morning trying to stay strong, trying to keep your faith alive, trying to tell yourself that things will get better, but deep inside there's a question that keeps whispering in your mind. Sometimes the most difficult thing for a human heart to handle is silence. Not the silence of a quiet room, the silence that comes after you have prayed with all your strength and you are still waiting for an answer. The kind of silence that follows your faith. The kind of silence that follows your tears, kind of silence that follows the moments when you have done everything you know how to do and yet nothing seems to change. When that silence stretches from days into weeks and from weeks into months, it can begin to make you feel like maybe heaven is not listening anymore. Many people believe that if God is silent, then God must be absent. They assume that if they cannot see the answer, then there must not be an answer coming. But the truth that so many people forget is that silence does not mean absence. Silence often means that something greater is happening behind the scenes. Something deeper than what your eyes can see in the present moment. Think about it for a moment. When a seed is planted into the ground, nothing visible happens immediately. You place it in the soil, cover it up, water it, and walk away. If you looked at the ground the next day, you might think nothing is happening. If you looked at it the next week, you might still see nothing at all. But beneath the surface, something powerful is taking place. Roots are beginning to form. Life is beginning to grow. Strength is beginning to develop in darkness long before the first leaf ever reaches the light. The waiting season in your life works in the same way. What feels like emptiness is often the place where God is growing something deep within you. What feels like delay is often the place where preparation is happening. Because the truth is, many of the greatest transformations in life happen in seasons where nothing seems visible on the outside. We live in a world that celebrates the results but ignores the process. People love the moment of victory. They celebrate the success story, the breakthrough, the achievement. They see the finished product and admire the beauty of the outcome. What they often fail to understand is that behind every visible victory, there were long seasons of invisible preparation. Behind every strong person, there were moments when they almost gave up. Behind every confident voice, there were days of doubt. Behind every breakthrough, there were nights of waiting, wondering and praying for the strength to keep going. The reason waiting can feel so uncomfortable is because it forces us into a place where control disappears. Human beings love control. We love to plan things, schedule things, organize things, and feel like we know what is going to happen next. Waiting takes that control away. Waiting places you in a moment where you cannot force the outcome and you cannot rush the process. But that is exactly where faith begins to grow. Faith does not grow in comfort. Faith does not grow when everything is predictable and easy. Faith grows when you have to trust even when you cannot see. Faith grows when the path ahead is unclear, but you choose to keep walking anyway. When you are in the waiting season, it can feel like time is standing still. It can feel like everyone else's life is moving forward while yours has paused in a place of uncertainty. You might watch people around you stepping into new opportunities, new relationships, new achievements, while you feel like you are standing in the same place you were months ago. But comparison can be one of the greatest enemies of faith, because you are measuring your journey by someone else's timeline, and every life moves according to a different season. Just like nature has seasons of planting, seasons of growth, seasons of harvest, and seasons of rest, human lives move through different stages at different times. Your waiting season does not mean your story is over. It simply means your story is still being written. Sometimes God delays what you want because He is preparing something greater than what you imagined. Sometimes the opportunity you are praying for right now would be too small for the person you are becoming. Sometimes the door you want to open today would lead you into a place that is not yet aligned with your purpose. So instead of seeing the waiting as a closed door, try to see it as a season of preparation, because preparation changes you. Preparation strengthens you. Preparation shapes your character so that when the moment finally arrives, you are ready to step into it with wisdom and strength. Think about the way a diamond is formed. It does not appear instantly in its final form. It is created under pressure deep within the earth of a long period of time. The pressure and the time are what transform an ordinary element into something extraordinary. Your waiting season is applying pressure to your patience, pressure to your faith, pressure to your perseverance. And while it might feel uncomfortable right now, that pressure is shaping you into a stronger version of yourself. The truth is that many people quit during the waiting season. They lose faith before the breakthrough comes. They walk away just before the door opens. Not because the blessing was never meant for them, but because the silence made them believe that nothing was happening. But the most powerful thing you can do in a season of waiting is to remain faithful, to keep moving forward even when progress feels slow, to keep believing even when the evidence is invisible, to keep trusting that there is a purpose behind every moment that feels uncertain. Because God does not waste seasons. Even the quiet seasons have meaning. Even the seasons that feel slow are shaping something important in your life. While you are waiting, your strength is growing. Your understanding is deepening. Your spirit is becoming more resilient than it has ever been before. And one day, when the moment finally arrives and the door finally opens, you will realize that the waiting was not empty at all. It was the place where you were becoming the person you needed to be in order to step into the life that was meant for you. One of the hardest things for any person to accept is the process. People love the blessing, they celebrate the victory. They admire the moment when everything finally comes together. But very few people talk about the long road that leads to that moment. Very few people talk about the days when nothing seemed to be working, the nights when doubt tried to creep into the mind, the seasons when progress felt so slow that it almost felt invisible. We live in a world that loves quick results. Everywhere you look, you see messages about instant success, instant opportunities, instant transformation. People want the reward without the preparation, the platform without the process, the crown without the struggle that comes before it. But life does not work that way, and neither does growth. The truth is that real growth takes time. Real transformation happens slowly, often in ways that you cannot see at first. It happens through experiences, through lessons, through moments that stretch your patience and challenge your mindset. And most of those moments take place in what we call the waiting season. Waiting season is not something most people enjoy. It can feel uncomfortable, frustrating, and sometimes even discouraging. You might wake up every day doing the same work, making the same effort, trying to stay faithful to your goals and your beliefs, and yet nothing seems to change. The breakthrough you imagined has not appeared. The door you hoped would open remains closed. The progress you expected to see feels like it has been delayed. And in those moments, it becomes easy to question the purpose of the process. It becomes easy to wonder why things are taking so long. You might start thinking that if the blessing was really meant for you, it would have happened by now. You might start believing that maybe the dream you had in your heart was unrealistic from the beginning. But the process has a purpose, even when that purpose is not immediately clear. Think about how a tree grows. When a tree is first planted, most of its development happens below the surface. Its roots begin spreading through the soil, searching for water and nutrients, building a strong foundation that will support the tree when it grows taller. During this time, you might not see much change above the ground. The tree might look small and fragile, almost as if it is not developing at all. Beneath the surface, the roots are expanding, becoming stronger and deeper. Those roots are the reason the tree will eventually be able to stand tall even when strong winds come. Your life works the same way. Before you can stand strong in the visible victories of life, your roots must grow in the hidden seasons of preparation. The waiting season is where those roots develop. It is where patience becomes stronger. It is where discipline begins to form. It is where your faith is tested and strengthened in ways that comfort could never accomplish. Many people want success. They are not ready for the responsibility that success brings. Many people want influence. They are not prepared for the pressure that comes with being seen and heard. Many people want opportunities. They have not yet developed the mindset needed to handle those opportunities wisely. The process prepares you for the weight of the blessing. Everything arrived the moment you asked for it. You might receive it with excitement, but lose it because you were not ready to sustain it. Preparation gives you the strength to carry what you have prayed for. Preparation gives you the wisdom to handle what you once only dreamed about. Sometimes the process also reveals things within you that need to change. It exposes fears that need to be faced, habits that need to be corrected, and perspectives that need to be adjusted. The waiting season often becomes a mirror that shows you who you are becoming. You might discover strength you did not know you had. You might discover resilience that only appeared because you refused to give up during difficult moments. You might discover that the person you are becoming through the process is stronger, wiser, and more prepared than the person you were when the journey began. Transformation is valuable. It is not wasted time. It is not meaningless struggle. It is the shaping of your character and the strengthening of your spirit. Every great accomplishment in life carries a story of preparation behind it. Every meaningful success is built on foundations that were developed during seasons when recognition was absent and progress seemed slow. What people often see as an overnight success is usually the result of years of quiet dedication, patience, and perseverance. The world celebrates the final moment, but the real story lies in the countless days when the person chose to keep going even when the results were not visible. That is what the process teaches you. It teaches you endurance. It teaches you commitment. It teaches you that growth does not always happen in dramatic moments, but often through small steps taken consistently over time. The process also changes your perspective on success itself. At the beginning of the journey, success might look like a destination, place you want to reach as quickly as possible. But as you grow through the process, you begin to realize that success is not just a destination. It is a transformation. It is the transformation of your mindset. It is the strengthening of your character. It is the development of a deeper understanding of who you are and what you are capable of becoming. When you look back one day, you might realize that the process gave you more than the outcome ever could. The waiting season may have built qualities within you that became more valuable than the original goal itself. Patience you learned will help you face future challenges. The discipline you developed will help you pursue new opportunities with greater focus. Faith you strengthened will guide you through moments that once would have caused fear or doubt. And when the blessing finally arrives, the door finally opens and the opportunity you have been preparing for finally stands before you, you will step into that moment as a different person than you were when the journey began. You will step into it with strength that was built during the waiting. You will step into it with wisdom that was shaped during the process. You will step into it with gratitude because you understand the value of everything it took to reach that point. The blessing will be meaningful not just because it arrived, but because of the person you became while you were preparing to receive it. That is the power of the process. It transforms waiting into growth, struggle into strength, patience into preparation for something greater than you could have imagined at the beginning of the journey. How much longer? Challenge at Love Enough and Care Enough. You've been doing the right things. You've been staying faithful. You've been working hard. You've been trying to keep your heart in the right place. Yet it feels like your life is stuck in a season where nothing is moving. Doors are not opening. Opportunities are not showing up. The breakthrough you've been praying for feels like it's always just out of reach. And sometimes the hardest part isn't the struggle itself. Hardest part is watching other people move forward while you feel like you're standing still. You see people celebrating their success. You see people stepping into new blessings, new opportunities, new victories. And while you're happy for them, there's a part of your heart that quietly asks, God, oh, when will it be my turn? Because the waiting can feel heavy. The waiting can feel lonely. The waiting can make you question things you never thought you would question. There are moments when you sit alone with your thoughts and you start wondering if maybe you misunderstood something. Maybe you prayed wrong. Maybe you believed for something that wasn't meant for you. Maybe God is blessing everyone else except you. But I need you to hear this message today with every part of your heart open, because this message might be the very reminder your spirit has been needing. God has not forgotten about you. Just because you are waiting does not mean you are abandoned. Just because the answer hasn't arrived yet does not mean the answer is not coming. Just because the door hasn't opened yet does not mean the door does not exist. Sometimes the most dangerous moment in your journey is not when things are falling apart. The most dangerous moment is when you start believing the lie that nothing is happening. Because while you are waiting, heaven is still working. While you are waiting, things are moving in places you cannot see. Situations are shifting in ways you cannot imagine. God is aligning moments, people, and opportunities that will come together at the exact time they are supposed to. But we live in a world that hates waiting. Everything around us tells us that things should happen quickly. We want instant results, instant success, instant breakthroughs. We want to plant a seed today and harvest tomorrow. We want to pray tonight and see the miracle in the morning. But God doesn't work on our schedule. God works with purpose. God works with timing. God works with preparation. And sometimes the reason the blessing hasn't arrived yet is not because God is saying no. Sometimes it's because God is saying, not yet. I'm still preparing you for what you asked for. Because the truth is, many people want the blessing, but they are not ready for the responsibility that comes with it. Many people want the opportunity, but they are not prepared for the pressure that comes with it. Many people want the victory, but they haven't developed the strength that victory requires. So while you're in the waiting season, something powerful is happening inside of you. Your patience is being stretched. Your faith is being strengthened. Your character is being built in ways that could never happen if everything came easily. The waiting season has a purpose. The waiting season is where your roots grow deeper. It's where your trust becomes stronger. It's where you learn to rely on God even when you cannot see the outcome. Because anyone can have faith when things are happening quickly. Anyone can believe when the doors are opening and the blessings are obvious. Real faith shows up when nothing seems to be moving and you still choose to trust. Real faith shows up when you keep praying even when the answer hasn't come yet. Real faith shows up when you keep believing even when the evidence isn't visible. Real faith shows up when the situation says one thing, but your spirit says something greater is still coming. That's why the waiting can feel so uncomfortable. Because waiting forces you to confront your fears. Waiting forces you to confront your doubts. Waiting forces you to decide whether you are going to trust what you see or trust the God you believe in. But there is something I want you to understand today. The waiting season is not punishment, it is preparation. When a builder is preparing the foundation for a great building, most of the work happens underground where nobody can see it. The outside world might look at the empty land and think nothing is happening. Underneath the surface, the foundation is being strengthened so the building can stand tall. And your life works the same way. While it feels like nothing is happening, God is strengthening your foundation. God is preparing your heart, your mindset, and your spirit for something greater than what you can see right now. Because if the blessing arrived before the preparation was complete, the blessing might break you instead of build you. So the next time you feel frustrated about the waiting, I want you to remember something powerful. Your waiting is not wasted. Every moment of patience is building something inside of you. Every prayer you whisper is being heard. A tear you cry is being seen. Every step you take forward, even when you feel uncertain, is part of a journey that God is still guiding. And one day, the moment will come when the door finally opens. One day the opportunity will appear. One day the breakthrough you've been praying for will step into your life in a way you didn't expect. And when that day comes, you will look back at this waiting season and realize something incredible. You were never stuck. You were being prepared. There are moments in life when the waiting becomes so heavy that it begins to affect the way you see everything around you. You wake up each day hoping that something will change, hoping that today might finally be the day when the answer arrives, when the door opens, the breakthrough you have been praying for finally shows up. But when day after day passes and nothing seems to move, the waiting can begin to feel like a weight on your heart. You start to question things that once felt certain. The confidence you once had begins to shake. The excitement you once felt about your future begins to fade. And sometimes you find yourself standing in a quiet moment, wondering if the dream you have been holding on to is still possible. Waiting has a way of testing your patience in ways that few other experiences can. It stretches the distance between where you are and where you hope to be, and that distance can feel overwhelming at times. You might look at your life and think that you should be further ahead by now. You might compare your progress with the progress of others and wonder why their path seems to be moving faster than yours. Comparison can quietly steal your peace during the waiting season. When you focus on someone else's timeline, it becomes easy to feel like you are falling behind. You might see people reaching goals, celebrating achievements, or stepping into opportunities that you have been hoping for yourself. And even though you want to feel happy for them, a small voice inside might begin to ask why your moment has not arrived yet. The truth is that every journey moves according to its own timing. No two paths are exactly the same. Just as nature has different seasons for different plants, human lives unfold in different ways and at different moments. Some seeds grow quickly, reaching the surface in a short amount of time. Others remain hidden in the soil longer, developing deeper roots before they ever appear above the ground. The seeds that take longer to grow often become the strongest trees. When you are in a waiting season, it does not mean that your life has stopped moving forward. It means that something important is still being developed beneath the surface. Growth is still taking place even when it is not immediately visible. Sometimes the waiting season is where your character becomes stronger. It is where patience replaces frustration, where discipline replaces distraction, where determination replaces doubt. These qualities are not built overnight. They are formed slowly through experiences that challenge your comfort and push you to grow beyond the limits you once believed were fixed. Waiting also teaches you how to trust in ways that are deeper than simple optimism. It teaches you to believe even when the outcome is uncertain. It teaches you to keep moving forward even when the path ahead is not completely clear. Teaches you to hold on to hope even when circumstances try to convince you to let go. These lessons are powerful because they shape the person you are becoming. The waiting season is not just about reaching a future moment. It is about transforming your present character. Imagine receiving everything you ever asked for without going through any preparation. Imagine stepping into success without learning patience, stepping into influence without learning humility, or stepping into opportunity without developing responsibility. Without the preparation that comes from waiting, those blessings might become overwhelming rather than empowering. The waiting season protects you from stepping into situations before you are ready to handle them. While you are waiting, your perspective begins to change. At first, you may focus only on the delay, wondering why things are taking so long. But as time passes, you begin to notice how much you have grown. Challenges that once felt impossible begin to feel manageable. The fears that once controlled your decisions begin to lose their power over you. You begin to see that you are stronger than you thought. You are more patient than you realized. You are more capable than you once believed. This realization becomes one of the most valuable gifts of the waiting season. It shows you that growth has been happening all along, even when the external circumstances remain the same. The waiting season can also deepen your appreciation for the moment when your breakthrough finally arrives. When something comes quickly, it can sometimes be taken for granted, but when you have waited, worked, and persevered for something over a long period of time, the value of that moment becomes much greater. You understand what it took to reach that point. You remember the days when you almost gave up, the nights when you questioned everything, and the moments when you had to choose faith, even when doubt felt stronger. Those memories make the victory more meaningful. They remind you that the journey was not easy, but it was worth it. They remind you that every step forward, no matter how small it seemed at the time, was part of a larger story unfolding in your life. And one day, when you look back at this waiting season, you may realize that it was not a period of stagnation at all. It was a season of preparation, growth, transformation that helped shape the person you needed to become. The waiting did not stop your progress. It strengthened your foundation. It taught you resilience. It taught you patience. It taught you how to keep believing even when the evidence was not visible. These lessons stay with you long after the waiting season ends. They become part of the wisdom you carry into the next chapters of your life. Because the truth is that life will always have moments of uncertainty. There will always be new goals, new dreams, and new challenges ahead. The strength you build during one waiting season becomes the confidence you carry into the next journey. The person you become through the waiting is often more valuable than the thing you were waiting for in the first place. And when the moment finally arrives, door opens and the opportunity appears, you will step forward not as the person who started the journey, but as someone who has been shaped, strengthened, and prepared for what comes next. While you are in the waiting season, it is easy to focus only on what has not happened yet. Your mind naturally moves toward the unanswered prayers, the doors that remain closed, the opportunities that have not appeared. You can begin to feel as if your life is paused while everything around you continues to move forward. Days pass, weeks pass, sometimes even years pass, and you start to wonder if the waiting will ever end. But there is something powerful happening during this time that many people overlook. While you are waiting, something is being built inside of you. Something is being shaped within your character, your mindset and your spirit. Waiting is not just about standing still until the future arrives. Waiting is about becoming the person who is ready for that future. Every season of waiting carries lessons that cannot be learned in any other way. When life moves quickly and everything seems to fall into place easily, there is little reason to pause and reflect. But when you are forced to wait, you are also given time to grow. You are given time to understand yourself better, to examine your beliefs, to strengthen the parts of your character that will support you when greater responsibilities arrive. Waiting can teach patience in a way that nothing else can. Patience is not simply the ability to sit still and do nothing. True patience is the strength to remain calm, hopeful. and committed even when the outcome has not yet appeared. It is the ability to continue doing the right things day after day, even when the reward feels distant. This kind of patience builds a deeper level of resilience within you. It teaches you that progress does not always appear immediately. Reminds you that growth is often happening quietly beneath the surface long before it becomes visible to the world. Waiting also strengthens your focus. When the results are delayed, distractions can easily pull your attention away from your goals. Doubt can whisper that your efforts are pointless. Fear can suggest that you should abandon the path you have chosen. But every time you choose to stay committed despite those voices, your focus becomes stronger. You begin to understand that determination is not about moving quickly. Determination is about continuing to move forward even when the pace feels slow. This realization can transform the way you see your journey. Instead of viewing waiting as wasted time, you begin to see it as an investment in your future. Every day that you continue to grow, learn, and improve yourself becomes another step toward the life you are building. Waiting also creates space for reflection. In the quiet moments, you can evaluate where you are and where you want to go. You can identify habits that need to change, skills that need to develop, and attitudes that need to evolve. These reflections often lead to growth that would never happen if life moved too quickly for you to pause and think. Many of the greatest personal transformations happen during periods when external progress appears minimal. These are the times when internal growth becomes the focus. Your values become clearer. Your priorities become stronger. Your sense of purpose becomes deeper. Sometimes the waiting season even changes the way you see your original goals. What you once believed was the most important thing in your life might begin to shift as you grow. New insights appear. New opportunities reveal themselves. Journey begins to take on a shape that you could not have predicted when it first began. This does not mean the waiting season is easy. There will still be moments of frustration. There will still be days when doubt tries to convince you that nothing will ever change. There will still be times when the distance between your current reality and your desired future feels overwhelming. The strength you develop during the waiting will help you move through those moments. Every time you choose hope over discouragement, you strengthen your mindset. Every time you choose persistence over giving up, you reinforce your determination. Every time you choose faith over fear, you deepen your trust that the journey still has meaning. These choices may seem small in the moment, but over time they build a powerful foundation within you. They shape the person you are becoming. They prepare you for the opportunities that will eventually arrive. One day the waiting will end. The door will open. The breakthrough will appear in a way that suddenly makes everything feel different. The moment you have imagined for so long will finally stand before you. When that moment arrives, it will not simply be the result of luck or coincidence. It will be the result of everything you learned, everything you endured, everything you became during the waiting season. You will realize that the waiting was not empty time. It was time that strengthened your patience, sharpened your focus, and deepened your understanding of yourself and your purpose. The person who steps into that moment will be stronger than the person who first began the journey. You will carry with you the lessons of perseverance, the wisdom of experience, and the confidence that comes from knowing you did not give up even when the path was uncertain. And when you look back at the long season of waiting, you may begin to see it differently. What once felt like a delay may now appear as preparation. What once felt like silence may now appear as the quiet space where your strength was growing. Because while you were waiting, you were also becoming. While you are waiting, something powerful is happening that most people do not immediately recognize. It is not always visible on the outside, and it may not be obvious in your daily routine, but deep within you, your strength is being built. Waiting has a way of shaping the inner parts of your character that only pressure and patience can develop. Many people believe that strength comes from moments of victory, from the times when everything is working and life feels easy. But real strength is not built in the moments when everything goes according to plan. Real strength is built in the moments when the plan does not unfold the way you expected, and you still choose to keep going. Waiting creates those moments. When you are waiting for something important, every day becomes a small test of your mindset. You wake up with the same hope you had yesterday, even though the answer has not arrived yet. You continue working, believing, and moving forward, even when the results remain unseen. This repeated choice to continue despite uncertainty begins to strengthen parts of your character that comfort could never reach. Patience becomes deeper during the waiting season. At first, patience might feel like something you are forcing yourself to practice. You remind yourself to stay calm, to stay hopeful, to trust that things will eventually work out. But as time passes, patience begins to grow naturally within you. You learn that not every important thing in life happens quickly. Some of the most meaningful achievements require time, persistence, and steady commitment. Waiting also develops endurance. Endurance is the ability to continue moving forward, even when the journey feels long and difficult. It is the quiet determination that refuses to stop, even when the finish line is not yet visible. Think about how athletes train for long-distance races. They do not simply wake up one day and run miles without preparation. Their endurance is built gradually through repeated effort, through moments when their muscles feel tired, but they continue running anyway. Each day of training strengthens their ability to go further than they could before. Your waiting season works in a similar way. Every day that you continue believing, working, and improving yourself is like another step in the training of your spirit. The challenges you face become opportunities to build endurance. The doubts you overcome become proof that your determination is growing stronger. Another important quality that develops during the waiting season is humility. When everything comes easily, it can be tempting to believe that success is guaranteed or that the journey will always be smooth. Waiting reminds you that many things in life require patience and grace. It teaches you to appreciate progress rather than expecting perfection. It teaches you to value small steps forward instead of focusing only on the final destination. And it teaches you to remain grounded, recognizing that growth is a continuous process rather than a single moment of achievement. While you are waiting, your perspective also begins to change. Things that once seemed urgent may begin to feel less important. The things that truly matter, your character, your purpose, your relationships, and your faith begin to take a deeper place in your heart. This shift in perspective is part of the transformation that waiting creates. It helps you understand that life is not only about reaching a goal as quickly as possible. It's about becoming the kind of person who can handle the responsibilities that come with that goal. Waiting also strengthens your trust. Trust grows when you continue to believe, even when the outcome is uncertain. It grows when you choose hope over discouragement, when you choose perseverance over quitting. Each time you face a moment of doubt and decide to keep going anyway, your trust becomes stronger. You begin to understand that the journey itself has value even when the destination is still ahead of you. The waiting season may not always feel comfortable. Comfort rarely produces growth. Growth often requires moments that stretch your patience, challenge your mindset, and encourage you to look deeper within yourself. These experiences shape you in ways that will become valuable later in your life. The patience you develop during waiting will help you remain calm during future challenges. The endurance you build will allow you to face difficult situations with confidence. The humility you learn will keep you grounded when success finally arrives. One day, when the door you have been waiting for finally opens, you will step into that moment with a different level of strength than you had before. You will not only receive the opportunity you hoped for, but you will also possess the character needed to handle it wisely. That is one of the greatest purposes of waiting. It prepares you not just to reach a destination, but to sustain it once you arrive. Many people focus only on the outcome they desire. They imagine the moment when everything finally comes together and life begins to move in the direction they have been dreaming about. What they often forget is that the outcome is only one part of the journey. The person you become along the way is just as important as the goal itself. Waiting shapes that person. It strengthens your resilience, deepens your patience, and clarifies your purpose. It teaches you that perseverance is more powerful than temporary frustration, and that determination can carry you through even the longest seasons of uncertainty. And when you look back at this time in your life, you may realize that the waiting season was not simply a pause in your journey. It was a period of preparation that quietly built the strength you needed for everything that was still ahead of you. The strength you are developing now will guide you through challenges you have not yet encountered, will help you face opportunities with confidence rather than fear. It will remind you that you are capable of enduring difficult seasons and still moving forward with hope. While you are waiting, you are becoming stronger than you realize. Every day of patience is another layer of resilience. Every moment of perseverance is another step toward the person you are meant to become. And that strength will remain with you long after the waiting season has passed, shaping the way you approach every new chapter that life places before you.